Welcome to the Wellness League podcast. This is the Try Me series. My name is Ella.
And I'm Amanda from Triathletes.
And I'm Emily.
Throughout this series, we will be covering everything within the sport of triathlon, from starting your first race
Right up to sprint, Olympic distance, 70.3 and full Ironman, giving you all the best tips and tricks from our experience in the sport.
So in episode 7, we are covering all things running. So how to start running, build up distance, and of course the important coffee. So, Ella, how did you start running?
Well, when I used to race, honestly, none of the runs were over 5Ks. So I actually never run train because I just always thought that's what was giving me all the migraines. So I would literally just go to a race and run. But now, since I have signed up for Busso, I started running 4 months ago. And honestly, just starting out, I did a couple of treadmill runs, even if they were like a kilometre to start with, doing interval runs. And then started going with a run group. And then that's when I started building up my Ks. And in the last month, I've run 10 kilometres 3 times.
Nice.
And it's getting better. So I am running now.
Nice.
Amanda, how did you run?
I started running because I was playing soccer and I was playing against girls who were like 20, so half my age at the time, playing against girls like that age and with girls that age. And I was like, I need to start running to try and keep up with them. And it turns out I liked running a lot more than soccer.
In saying I never ran, I used to always play team sports. So I was running, incidentally running like in sport, but you would never see me go out for a run.
Yeah.
But yeah, running in sport's so much better.
Well, I did enjoy that, but my soccer training was at night and and my game was at night, so I wouldn't finish till late.
Yeah.
And then my run training group started running at 5 a.m. It was in Queensland, so it was nice and early. So I wasn't getting much sleep, and I had to pick between the two. And I chose, I actually chose triathlon, which
completely
it's like I run and cycle and swim. Actually, I didn't do much swimming, but this is all about running. So that's how I started running, and I just loved it. I do a sprint run once a week, a hill run once a week, and then a long run. And that was my run training early on.
And you?
So I started running quite a few years ago, where there was like a charity run going on in Bundaberg, and my dad was like, "You're gonna do the 10K," and I was like, "What?" But I remember that first 10K was like the hardest thing in my life, and like I wasn't a big runner, and then I kind of stopped for a while while I got into weightlifting a little bit more. And then gradually I just started building into it more and more to get more cardio, and I just realized that I actually do really love it. Like I can do it anywhere. It's free. I can walk out my door, and as long as I have runners, and I can go for a run. And I also really like the social elements as well. And I find that with a run, I think I just kept doing it because I really loved it, because if I go for like 2Ks or if I go for 10Ks, I still feel really good after a run. So I just really like wanted to.
I always used to find when I travelled the world, it was so hard to find gyms, or especially around Europe, to go and get out and do a run. You go and see like so many cool places.
It's a great way to see a city.
Especially in the morning, then go back and visit the places once they open later. Where's the best place in the world that you've run quick, funny one in there?
Barcelona.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really enjoyed running through Barcelona when it was, because the Spanish are much more like evening people, so it was so quiet. And then
nice. Your favourite place to run in the world?
I really liked France. Love France, and then I did a little jog around Iceland, and that was sick. But it was cold.
I reckon out of when I was running, other than the drunk run home from a pub in Austria. We were in the snow. I thought somebody was following me, but it wasn't. I was just running home. Anyway, I reckon my favourite run was along Nice. Along the boardwalk there was insane, because you can't run on the beach there because it's pebbles, unlike Australia. But I think running in Nice.
Nice spot.
Yeah. All right, so
maybe you'll do a triathlon there one day.
There's
a few hills.
I'm on worm champs.
Hills.
Well, after you take me up Norton, I might be all right. I'm good at hills on a spin bike, but not when you turn up the thing really hard. Anyway, running. So starting on a treadmill versus running on the road, how did you build up your kilometres to get to a decent pace in time?
I didn't run on a treadmill for years and years after I started running. So I just didn't have access. Well, I didn't go to a gym. I didn't join a gym. I just love being outside. So I only ran outside, and I don't know. I think from playing soccer, I just had good endurance, so I was able to run. But I think it's really important for anyone to know that you can just walking is fine.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's the best way to get better at doing more distance.
I like to visualize too. If I feel like I need to stop, I'll be like, there's a pole about 20 meters in front of me. That's where I'm going to run.
Yeah. Give yourself some targets and run to those, and then have a walk so your heart rate drops down a little bit, and then go again.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, intervals and all that kind of stuff.
Visualizing. I always visualize if I'm struggling, like a rope's tied around you and someone's pulling onto that rope, so you're
that'd be nice.
Forward, yeah, and I find that helps me a little bit sometimes.
Running with friends, how much do you enjoy doing that, and how important that is?
Love it. It's really important. I think the same with any of them. You actually push yourself a little bit more when you're running with friends, but it's also good to be able to have that run on your own when you can run really aerobically and your heart rate's low. But running with friends is great. If you can find a group, so I run with a group on a Tuesday night, and there's such a big difference. There's people who are running like 3-minute 30 kilometres and people who are running 7-minute kilometres.
Yeah, similar to our group.
But we do loops and we do all these different things that keeps everyone together, and so everyone feels part of it. And running with a group, I just feel like you improve so much so quickly.
Yeah. Can you talk and run when you run with friends?
I kind of, but it depends on the level. So if I'm doing like hard intervals, no. But if I'm going out for a long run, I kind of feel like I should be able to have a chat.
Yeah.
You know, like because you're keeping your heart rate down, zone 2 sort of stuff. But I do agree. Like I love running with a group. Yeah. But I also like having that one run a week where I run by myself and let myself be like, I'm angry for no reason. Let me let it out. And having that sort of balance between it all. But I find if I have to pick one running session a week to run with someone, intervals, because it's like swimming. I'm like, it's like all of them. Like you just push yourself more because you find other people who are, you know, similar like abilities to yourself and you want to like keep behind them. So it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, I was running in our group maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was running with one of our friends. No joke, looked down. I was doing a 6:30 pace. Our friend in front of us turned around and was like, how are you still talking? I was like, I'm just good at that. But it's good at taking your mind off. Yeah. I was actually doing a PB kilometre time, but fun fact, I'm actually a running coach and I teach people how to run. Yeah. Okay. And I've taught people how to run faster than me. So apparently I'm good at teaching people how to run. But it's interesting. Lots of short runs than before your long runs. But injuries when it comes to running, I know you've just had a big one. Yeah. What's the best way to like prehab and rehab so you get back running?
Yeah. So biggest thing that like I can find is making sure you like foam rolling and stretching and making sure all your muscles are ready to go, because something can happen is like slight is like me, like my quads were super tight when I was running on them, and then when I was going downhill it like strained and caused knee injuries. Yeah. So making sure you give yourself like, if you're going to go out for a run, wake up those 10 minutes earlier and like use a foam rolling time and make sure you just get in a habit of it. I always say it's like teeth flossing. Like you feel like you should do it, you always forget to do it, but it's actually really important in the long run. Yeah. And then also another thing, just it depends on everyone's body, but I find that strength training actually really helps me in terms of that, just working that little mobility. So it doesn't mean you have to go out and do, you know, really like a lot of weights. Just getting like, you know, a little bit of like leg work for me, high reps, low weight, just to keep those little microfibers keep going.
And even Pilates as well.
Yeah, it's really good to do that. Yeah, for sure. And also like it depends as well. Like some people can hack volume a lot more in running and some people don't do very well with high volume. So you've got to really work on or understand where your body sits. Yeah. Because for example, like leading up to an ultra marathon I was running a lot more and I actually felt that I was really sluggish in my runs because I was running too much that my body could hack.
Do you feel like you overloaded too fast?
I wouldn't say too fast. It was just my body just doesn't rebound back from running. Like I can ride for as long as I want. I can swim as long as I want. But with running, like it doesn't rebound back quickly. So I just need to be balanced in how my body feels that day for running.
Yeah, yeah. I think another big thing is shin splits. And a lot of people, when they come into running, find that they always get that when they run on something like the road. The best thing for that, it sounds really painful, but get somebody with a rolling pin to like, don't look at me like that. You will go.
My voice going, what are you doing?
It is the only thing. I've been to that many physios and that's what they all did, either with their hand or with a rolling pin. Roll down your shins. Sounds painful, but it fixes them straight away as long as it's not a fracture or something. But even with a massage gun, going down your shins and your feet and rolling out your feet with a tennis ball and your calves. Yeah, we'll avoid it.
I think what you said before, like don't go too many days without swimming. Yes, but I think running's the other way.
Yeah.
So you need to have days in between runs. So, don't run 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be, most people are more likely to be injured doing that.
Big news time. We have a big brand new sponsor for the Wellness League podcast. So, can you guess who it is?
Hi, I'm Lana from Live and Breathe Active or Lab, a small family-run business run by a group of passionate people that, well, we live and breathe this shit. Whether it's run, swim, cycle or try, we make gear to get you through those tough training sessions. We help you get up before sunrise and we will still be there with you well after sunset. You will see us before you hear us with bespoke prints designed by artists just for you. We are driven by our values and are focused on performance and community. And we are super proud to be partnering with the Wellness League podcast in the Try series. Find out more or shop online at liveandbreatheactive.com. We can't wait to have you as part of the crew.
How good is that, hey? Discount codes and the link will be in the bio. But you know what? Let's go back to the pod.
Since our equipment episode, I bought a nerd belt, and running with a nerd belt on, it was great.
Yes, yeah, it is good. So you can have your drinks on the side and your nutrition there, and not on your back sweating, carry, not in your hand.
And especially if you're in a race, you need your number anyway. So I had that on the bottom.
Yeah, and going back to the injury as well, I find that shoes do make a bit of a difference
of course,
as well.
Yes.
So just personally, I found an absolute game changer for me was to go to the to a running shop that you can run on the treadmill, and they'll show you like if you're pronating too much or if you're not, and the best shoe for you. And I find, for example, for me, like weirdly enough, I love trail running, but I really don't run well in trail running shoes personally.
Yep,
like, so I'll just wear road running shoes. And I just found I've tried like so many trail running shoes and they just don't work for me. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, so you just got to trial the shoes that do really work for you and find out like how much comfort you do, like, you know, softness and all that sort of stuff for you, because it's so different for everyone.
Stats on that thing, like the running test when you go to a running place, is really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did that very early into when I started running, because I started getting knee pain from running in the shoes that I had. And even getting on their test, most of the time, if you buy the shoes, the run test is actually free. And even if you don't buy the shoes, the running test isn't normally more than $50 or $60, but it is well worth your time and money.
I'm renewing your shoes a lot. Unfortunately, in
it's
triathlon,
expensive.
It's expensive.
And having an injury is more expensive.
Yeah.
Agreed.
With your shoe kilometres is also, do you track how many kilometres you do in each pair?
I do actually. It's on Strava. It's also on my Garmin that it is tracked, but I don't pay so much attention to the kilometres. I just look at the soles and also the feel of the shoe. You know when it's not bouncy anymore.
Yeah.
You need
I'm the same. Yeah, and I also get my coach to be like, "Have you got new running shoes?"
Yes.
Not yet.
And also, you were talking about trail running. What's the difference between running on a road and a trail?
I find it so different. So I only got into trail running probably a year ago, probably since moving to Adelaide a little bit more. It's so different. So like everyone does it differently. Like personally, like I have to take a massive dial back on looking at my watch and my data, because it is like, I find it's a lot slower. You have to be a bit more focused, but it's beautiful. And I find that like I usually don't walk a lot in my long runs, just because I'm at that stage where I don't walk at the moment. But when I am on the trails, if it's like a big hill or whatever, my heart rate is as up much as I would be running. So I walk, like I'm walking. So, and you just got to be, for me, it was like being okay with that. You know,
it's just like, don't get the ego in there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's faster to walk up the hill
it
than
is,
to run up.
Yeah. So, and you just got to find a track that you love and it's beautiful. And I love doing trail running with friends because it's a little bit more cruisy. You have a coffee afterwards. Like, I love it.
Also, getting a running program to start when either it's like a couch to 5K, or I started on one of the kick programs. They were running a 0 to 3K. And then quickly finishing that, I've gone the 5 to 10, and I'm about to start the 10 to half marathon, hence the half marathon.
And there's so many good running programs and groups nowadays. I don't know what's happening this year, but it's a trend. Everyone's running.
Happens to be a good year to be a trend. What do you think about, quickly, the running club dating scene? And everybody talking about that?
No, we're probably not in the same
sorry.
Well, I was going to say, we both like met our partners cycling. So I kind of rate it because it's like on the same wavelength, same similarities.
Yeah, apparently people are going to running clubs to date these days, but anyway, I'll keep looking.
There you go.
But even going somewhere like a park run, or there's many local events that have all different distances, just check out where you are and the local calendars.
Parkrun is so good.
It's
Because
free. It's 5K.
So
You can
good.
5K.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Mm. The exciting part about starting to run is as you get better, you get quicker and you magically make PBs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the PB's early in running.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
it
good.
never gets easier. Just
No.
so you know, like,
You just get
faster. It's so true.
I think also the mental side of running, once you start to figure out that this is a good and fun sport, it gets a lot easier
Yeah.
too.
I always think that sometimes, you know, when you're going for a long run, so you slow right down,
Yep.
you want to have a sign to tell people, I'm actually going for a long run. That's why I'm that slow.
Leave me alone. Or I need a sign that says I'm probably lost. That's why I'm running slow.
Oh, I'm the same.
That's a
though.
bit
It's
of
like
an
an ego
ego
thing.
thing.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. I have to like, I have to dial it back, and then
Yeah.
someone runs past me. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I could keep up with them.
When you're in a running race, the last kilometre or 500 metres, are they always your fastest
Yes.
kilometre?
Yes, because you know you can see the finish line and you
Mm.
just know it's almost done and you just give it a bit more.
My first and last are always the fastest. But anyway,
My first is always the slowest. I find it really hard to get into it. That's why I need to warm up before.
well, I think because I always warm up with friends and they run off and then I pull back and then I meet them at the end. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm definitely a building running person.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
definitely, like, I try and be like, okay, like I want to look. If I'm not a big stat person, but if I look back at my stats, I want to see that I increase my pace each kilometer.
Yeah.
So that's my goal in a race. Usually is
Yeah.
that, you know, have the block and then you want to build higher, faster and faster.
Yeah. Any tips that you give to somebody getting into running?
Just do it. A lot of people just say, oh, it's too hard. My heart rate's too high. I get too out of breath. It's okay to dial it back and just go slower. Go and then walk a little bit. You know, follow one of those Couch to 5K programs, something like that, and give yourself time to enjoy it and just love being out in nature.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is stay hydrated. That was the reason that I was hitting a wall and really having the massive headaches after. So that was my problem. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Find a tap. A lot of, if you're running on running tracks, kind of like Vic Park or anywhere around the city, there's always lots of water stations to always stop and have a quick drink.
Yeah. And I think my biggest tip would be, like, you don't have to be a runner to start running.
Yeah.
You know, like, I didn't really run that much when I was younger. I got so many friends that, like, they were never runners, and you just gradually, consistently build up, and like, everyone is able to run and leave their door. So if you've ever even enticed you to give it a go, like, just give it a go.
Even if you run to the pantry, you're still a runner.
So you have to put running shoes on. But
Yeah.
there's a pantry.
Be a barefoot runner. What's your best places to run in Adelaide?
Around the Torrens is my best place, and when I was in Queensland, it was around the river,
Yes.
on the river path, and when I was on the Gold Coast, along the beach. So I guess I like water to run near.
I like, Vic Park or the Torrens. Vic Park is fun because you can make so many different routes.
Yeah,
But yeah, all the Torrens, I do enjoy that because it is a nice,
so nice.
it's not super flat, which is fun. Yours?
I love Cleland National Park.
Oh, yeah.
So I love the National Park there in the Chambers Gully Loop, or along the beach.
Lovely. Good. All right. Thanks for listening to this podcast. It will be on Spotify and YouTube as a video, Apple Podcasts too. In the meantime, go and follow us on the socials at the Wellness League Pod and at discovering _ at discovering_ET. Amanda, you are?
I am on YouTube at TriFit with Tim and Amanda, and on Instagram at tryfit.tim.amanda.
And
I'm just on Instagram for Emily Barrett 101.
I'll tag all our Stravas in the show notes so you can laugh at my running journey. But we'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Just laugh at me all the time.
Every time, like, you can laugh at me for all my training.